Hey everyone, welcome to another session. In this session, we are going to discuss security policy framework. As you can see in this pyramid or in this diagram, that we have policy on top, then standards, procedures, guidelines, and baselines. We will discuss them one by one. But before discussing regarding policy, um, let me tell you one important thing that policy policy should be written in a way that will stand the test of time. For example, statements like all sensitive information must be encrypted with AES-256 encryption, or store all employee record in room 226 are not good policy statements. Because if the organization switches encryption technologies or moves its record room instead, a policy might make statement like sensitive information must be encrypted, both at rest in transit using technology approved by IT department, and employee record must be stored in a location approved by human resources. Those statements are much more likely to stand the test of time. Securities, so that is important to understand. So now let us discuss one by one. Policy, as I said, uh, it is a general management statement. It is high level rules and direction. Most of time it is written by senior folks, senior security folks. They also senior management uh, writes policy. The purpose is define security goals and organizational expectation, and it is mandatory, right? Second thing is standard. Standard is that specific mandatory controls, technical specification, for example, encryption level, password length, enforce policy with detailed rules, and it is also mandatory that we need to keep in mind. When we write standards, for example, we write encryption level, password length, so those standards need to be followed. And standard always enforce policy with the detailed rules. So we define them. Policy is a general statement by the management or by the senior security folks, but standard uh, are the detailed rules, and they enforce policies, and they are mandatory. They are not optional. Procedure, a step by step instruction, means it's a detailed operational steps for task, how to report an incident. So you have step by step instructions that calls procedures, ensure tasks done consistently, and it also mandatory. Guidelines is the recommendations, best practices. What it is suggestion and advice. Purpose help users follow best practices when flexibility is allowed and it is not mandatory. Uh, Therefore, we can say no. Here, this is mandatory. Yes, this is mandatory. Yes, this is mandatory. Yes. Policy is general statement. Standard is standard is that detailed rules. Procedures are step by step, right, instructions, and they all are mandatory that we need to know for the exam, for the CISSP exam. Guidelines, guidelines, as I said, flexible, they are flexible, they are best practices and baselines. Baselines, uniform ways for safeguard implementation, minimum acceptable security configuration, provide a benchmark to ensure consistency. It is often considered mandatory, but it is customizable, it is tailorable. So now, if we again conclude our discussion, security policy, foundational document that outline an organization security expectations, right? Security policy should be aligned with the business goal. As a security person, one thing we should know that security is extremely important, but that is not the reason that business exists. So we need to make sure that all policies, security policies, uh, should align with the business goals. Um, that foundational document that outline an organization security expectation. The characteristics of security policies: carefully written and long lasting, approved at the highest level of the organization, should be timeless, avoid specific tools or location. Compliance, as I said, it is mandatory, right? Standard provides specific technical requirement to enforce policies. For example, encryption protocols. Which encryption protocols can be used, should be used, must be used, right? Must be used, I would say. System configuration setting, um, and sources. Internal IT department should help to write the standards, right, in detail. Industry benchmark, vendor provided configuration guides. It's also mandatory. Procedure step by step instructions for an operational task, how to activate the incident response team, guidelines, recommend best practices and offer advice, suggesting the use of encrypted Wi-Fi or VPN when traveling, and baselines, as I said, that is often mandatory, but it is minimum acceptable security configuration. So this is how um, this is how the security policy framework is designed, or or let's say we need to remember for the CISSP exam. So that's it. Um, that's about security policy framework. If you have any question, feedback, please share in the comment section. Thank you so much.